Welcome to From Work to Worship, where we explore how people's calling becomes their calling card, how vocation fuels occupation, how to work can be to worship when we understand who we were made for. So let's get to work on understanding what we were made to do. This is the testimony of comedian, poet, musician, and aspiring human being, Nathanael Mosher, the person speaking right now, and this is From Work to Worship.
If you actively and consistently pursue whatever you can conceive to be the highest good, then you will find God, because they're the same thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
5,
and that's been my experience.
4, 3, 2. I don't want to die young. I don't want to die young. But if I do, I hope I'm true. And if I leave it up to you, I hope you let some people know that I've been worked hard.
If this is your first time joining us at PPDK Productions, we want to thank you for listening and invite you to go ahead and subscribe to our Substack at ppdkproductions.com. That's ppdkproductions.com, and receive 1 free week of life-giving stories, weekly content recaps, and monthly content maps. There is nothing more tragic than a man lacking purpose. That's why we're starting with our stories, because that's what we know. Living to tell the tale is our purpose. We're doing it first, so you can too. Go to ppdkproductions.com and subscribe. If you like what we have to say but don't like how we look, then please consider making a monthly contribution so we can make our stories look beautiful.
Okay. So, Nathanael, tell me, how exactly did you go Buckwild in college?
Well, I went a little Buckwild before, college in my own way with the partying and stuff. So when I got to college, you go to a frat party and the guy's like, who do you know here? And you're like, this guy. He's like, can you hang out with him? You're like, yeah. He's like, the whole night. I'm like, I'm never coming back here again. So I quickly didn't really care. You go to the parties, you drink, but it's sort of been there, done that. I was obsessed with stand-up, and sort of by that point I was doing biomedical engineering because that's what was a fail-safe. If I didn't end up fully choosing pre-med, I would have a good degree that could transfer into something else. I could get a master's, I could work in that, but immediately knew that it wasn't for me. I was at an engineering orientation and they said, well, if you like building stuff, which obviously you do, you're in engineering. And I was like, I don't like building stuff, so oh no. I like competition. I did a mathematics, engineering, science achievement MESA, and we did a competition at Caltech where it was jet propulsion laboratories, and there was a challenge, and we had to shoot a roll of toilet paper, catapult it the furthest while keeping the roll intact. So you had to use a lot of physics, and we had our team and we made something, and the day of the competition the wind conditions were horrible, and so it just flew out of the boundaries when they were supposed to have a weather vane saying what the speeds are, and if it was a certain speed then they would make us wait, but the wind was just crazy, and so we got disqualified. I was humorously angry. I love doing that, but because my friend Jason, he was like, yeah, let's go, so thanks. And so I just knew engineering was not for me, I was just still trying to do stand-up Mondays and Tuesdays, and I started a comedy club on campus to book shows, and so it was just still going out and doing stand-up. So there was no Buckwild. It was, I would go to class, I would take the bus at 3 p.m. and I would get back to the dorms at midnight. Thankfully, my Buckwild was playing FIFA with my friend Typh. Shout out to Typh and other people. They would always have FIFA playing, and just having fun in that way. And I noticed this pattern where it was every final 2 weeks of the quarter, I'd get a girlfriend, a short-term relationship, because it's this. I would start skipping class before finals and start studying, so I'd get a head start. And so I would have extra time when everybody was scrambling, and I would get a girlfriend or like a relationship, a short little fling in that time. Situationship. And but yeah, it was just all stand up all the time, trying to go out and do it and take the bus. And then eventually I got a car, and I got that. I moved back home. I only stayed in the dorm my freshman year, and then I switched to English, and so I could do it. I made the commitment to do it every night, and I think it was like winter break of my freshman year was the first time I did it a lot, like more than just once a week. And I did like 10 open mics, or I don't know, it was a lot. It was with my friend Brian Park and Jason Ree, these two comedians, and we were doing a bunch of shows, and it was just god awful. He always goes, "Yo, bro, remember Pig and Whistle days?" We did a Sunday night. The Wednesday night music open mic was great, but the Sunday night comedy open mic was horrendous. I mean, so many comedy open mics are just fronts for alcoholism, and so it's just a place to indulge your vices and clothe it in the guise of art. Just take your self-destructive behavior and it's like, I'm expressing myself. I'm expressing myself, killing myself. It's art. You're like, you're killing yourself and you're talking about it. That's not art. That is suicide on stage. Disgusting, honestly. And I participated in it, I guess. So yeah, I was just out there doing it, and I would come back from I got all these songs just like talking about these experiences that I'm sitting on, that I need to put out there. But yeah, I would go do these open mics and take the bus, and I'd bring my skateboard. I got this longboard, so I would show up at one, sign up. I learned from Tyler how to do this, so I would go to one, sign up, go to the next one, sign up, come back on my skateboard, perform, next one, perform, take the bus across town or wherever I needed to go, do the third one, usually 3 in a night, take the bus back. And because I was on the bus, it would, 3:30 p.m., get home at like midnight, 9 hours out, and I would study while out. I would bring my homework, and I would do my homework while waiting to go on stage, then go on stage, go to the next place, do more homework while waiting to go on stage, and then go to the next place. And my first comedy festival, I wasn't old enough to drink. I had a fake ID at that time to get into comedy clubs, and everybody was out partying and I was doing homework. And I felt so lonely, but I'm also so glad I wasn't there in retrospect. I mean, there's nothing of value. I mean, it's not that there's nothing in value. People have really good, they make friends, I've made none of those. I don't talk to any of those people anymore. They weren't genuine relationships. There are relationships in comedy that are just based around you doing a mutual thing together. There's no integrity beyond that. They don't care about you. That's okay. They're not supposed to. You do this thing together. That's it. That's your relationship. It's not real. And that's okay. It's a job. It's supposed to be a job. But I was trying to mature through this community that didn't exist. There's no community. There's no comedy community in LA. Maybe there is elsewhere. But maybe the Comedy Store is its own little community. Maybe the Joe Rogan mothership, that's a community. You know what I mean? Like there is a scene. But LA, there's no LA comedy community. There's no LA comedy scene. It's too big. It's too spread out. There's no common, you know what I mean? You see the same people a lot, but there's no glue like holding you together. And when you end up in the hospital, you find out who shows up. And then my friend Alex. We got very lucky. We would do a show at UCLA once a week, and these guys, we'd go to Denny's afterwards. I got this dream that I walked into the venue, and it was like the reopening of the improv space that we used to do, but it wasn't the improv space. And at the bottom floor there was a coffee shop, and at the top floor there was a performance venue. And I know that one day we're gonna build a place, and it's gonna be on the west side of Los Angeles, because comedy's dead in LA. And that's okay. It's gonna be reborn in other places, but and like being a Christian and I don't know if that really exists. To be honest, I think I love Michael Jr. But the idea, playing churches, you played a church, but to be a Christian in the secular space and proclaim the gospel, I don't know what that looks like. But I'm gonna do it. Testimony, I think that's what it is. And so yeah, we would just do shows, and so those friends, like, I'm still friends with them. Richie, Austin, Alex Payne, Callie, Kingsley, like, they're all still my friends, you know. And so you do make really, really beautiful friendships along the way. Tim Lindbergh, he ran the improv space. I hung out with him on my birthday in New York. So, like, you do make beautiful friendships, but they're deeper than just the fact that you do comedy together.
Yeah.
A lot of those people leave comedy for other things. So it's yeah, so you'll meet people, and there's we do this together, but then there's like, what's deeper than that? And those people visited me in the hospital.
What landed you in the hospital?
Tying a belt around my neck, pulling hard, trying to suffocate myself. My therapist saying, you know, maybe you just need a break, because that's really what it is. It's like, I just want a break from everything, and if I suffocate myself, then maybe I'll end up in a coma, and 10 days from now I'll wake up in a room and everybody I love is in the same room. That now I'm articulating it consciously. It's an impulse in that moment, and you're hearing just like the nastiest voice telling you you're utter garbage, you know. It's evil. It's not you. It's not you. Don't think I hate myself. You don't hate yourself. Whatever that voice is, that is the enemy in disguise. He can shapeshift into you, and that's the hardest part. Now you're face to face with yourself, because he will use all the things you dislike about yourself against you, and go, you know how you don't like this and this and this and this, but he'll say it in your voice, looking straight at you. So you have to like kill yourself, but it's not you. So you have to confront your ego, as people will call it, confront it and say no, vanquish it, and now you get to be yourself. But that's not you. It's a facade. It's a complete facade. You are a child of God, made in the image of God, meant to be redeemed through Christ. That is what you are. God needs you. The enemy doesn't need you, but he wants to use you to dispose of you.
That's the real talk. That's real talk right there. So it sounds like I was telling you a moment ago about the darkness of the soul. Yeah, like, how did that develop? You know, can you track that shadow side of yourself emerging back a little bit to a set of circumstances that were causing that?
Poetry, but that's where it started to come out. But I should say that when I got heartbroken and when she cheated on me, and my mom, first thing she was like, you got to get your Build-A-Bear back. because I gave her my Build-A-Bear, like as a Valentine's Day gift. She's like, I got that for you. You better get that back. You know, I'll show up at her house and steal it. Like, you better get that back.
Oh, she had it.
I gave it to her as a gift.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant you gave it to your mom.
And I had some like teddy bears she got me, and I remember I like took a knife. I was furious. I took a knife when she found it, and I got it, and I like sawed its head off. I threw it in a garbage can. Like, ah! So that's like a dark side for sure, and anger, a burgeoning anger. I had it in sports, like this volleyball game. I played volleyball and I played middle blocker, and I had no idea what I was doing. It was like first junior senior year, I quit baseball, and then I quit basketball. Quit basketball and then played volleyball my senior year. And we were a ragtag bunch of kids that didn't know how to play volleyball, except for like 2 people that were actually really good. And so it was fun. And 2 of the guys, Chris and Armand, we all had player origin stories, because some girl broke our heart so catastrophically that it was like all bets are off.
The whole volleyball team was just...
Not the whole volleyball team, just us three.
Okay.
Yeah.
Full of heartbreak stories.
Yeah.
Heartbreak kids.
We'd have this chant. It'd be like, FJ. Joe was our coach. So we'd be like, FJ. He's a great coach. But I don't know. We weren't good. And he would get mad. He's a great coach. Nice guy, too. Anyways. So one time we had a chant, F Raw, and it was the first letter of all the girls that broke our heart, because we were at Chipotle and we found out we all had these player origin stories.
Dang, so one of you guys got their heart broken by 2 girls.
No, it was each of us had.
No, but you said it was 3 of you guys.
Yeah, and so
you said
3.
Raw.
No, F Raw. 3 letters, RAL.
Oh, I was thinking
3 guys,
RAUL.
3. Huh?
I was thinking RAUL.
Oh, that's because our pastor.
My bad.
Sorry, Pastor Raw. We were not talking about you. F you. No, we're not saying that. Yeah, and so volleyball. We were playing against Beverly Hills High School, and there at some tournament, and we were down like 16-9, and it was me and this guy Jake Newman, and we were getting killed on the middle block. Like, you gotta go up and you gotta block, because you come from each side, and it comes through the middle. So middle blockers are very important for that. They don't get as much of the kills, but they get a lot of the blocks. It's very important. They got to seal. And he calls timeout. He's like, bottom line, middle blockers, you suck. Be better. We're getting killed. Fix it. Get back out there. I'm like, that was so mean. And I'm just furious. And I'm sitting there on the back line like, oh, screw him. FJ. Block. That sub me out. Jake in. Block. But all of a sudden it's tied up. And we contributed to like 6 out of the next 7 points. And he's like, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you. So, and apparently he would use that story. Like later, he'd be like, I had this guy. He had no idea what he was doing. Never played volleyball. He sucked. But he worked hard. I motivated him, and I got most improved. And that's always how it is. Like at Tanner's with chess, I was trash. But I think we talked about it where it's like, Hormozy talks about it. The first 20 hours, you're going to suck. And you're going to hate it. And everybody's going to tell you, you're a beginner, relax, just have fun. It doesn't matter. And honestly, the people that are winners, I think, are like, F you. No. I'm going to master this. And they're like, you can't. You're a beginner. I don't care. And they're right. They are right. You should relax.
Yeah.
But for those first 20 hours, you're like, I'm gonna jam this in now.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody else is like, you're a psychopath. I wrote down, all the people that have called me workaholics quit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We were talking about it. This is worship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you're building a temple to Satan, call me a workaholic. We're building something for the kingdom. I'll work day and night. We read Nehemiah together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He said, don't get me down for this.
Mm-hmm.
Telling, oh, there's something going on. We need your help. He's like, don't you see what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Don't bother me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I always had that, but I always felt bad about it.
Mm.
I was talking to this comic, Zach, out in the UK, and I was like, I feel like I have that like Kobe like dog, like, you know, that they talk about.
That grit.
I'm like, I have that. He's like, but how do I express that on stage? Because it's not right. Like it. He's like, the athlete is the dog on stage, but you know, well, a dog on stage, off. The comedian has to be soft up there, but a dog off stage. But I think maybe with this, whatever I'm doing, like, I'm a storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were talking about like being number one in storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be a dog in that, because God's story is the greatest story ever told.
Mm-hmm.
And I will fight you on that.
Mm-hmm. Dang. So, you're in college. And college is of some significance to you, but what you really care about is comedy. And so, you graduated from college, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I came very close to dropping out.
Mm-hmm.
I switched from bioengineering to English. I still couldn't compete at the level that I wanted to. Mm-hmm. I was doing shows on campus. They were going okay. Like, we weren't getting a lot of people out, but I was able to book some people that I looked up to. But, you know, I was trying to get out there and do it every night in the city. I was trying to get on the big showcases, trying to get that manager, all those things. Mm-hmm. And it just wasn't happening yet. And you see other people getting on these showcases and getting the managers, and again, I'm like comparing myself only to the people close to my age, which is like 10 of us. So it's like, where do you rank? There's 10 people I'm trying to, you know, that's it. So I'll just look at the people that, what do they do? How hard do they work? How many sets a night do they do? Well, there's people doing like 6 sets a night. When I was 19, I took my car and I plotted it out, and some of the open mics were lottery, so wasn't guaranteed. So I got lucky. I did 6 sets in one night, and I probably burned like 60 miles of gas, and I went to Burbank and Santa Monica, and I went all over LA. And it was the first time the barrier between me off stage and on stage disappeared. It's like I stepped there and it was, this is my living room. Now I perform in my living room. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, it was irreplicable. I couldn't do that again. I tried, and my car got towed, and I did 4 sets. So it was settled on 3. Mm-hmm. And then it started to balance around like, okay, now I'm committing to stay in school, because my mom was like, yo, you can't do stand-up and college. He's like, I sold encyclopedias door to door and graduated in 3 years and gave all the money back to my family and blah, 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 blah. And you can't do stand-up. And you're not even paying for this. Mm-hmm. She's like, college gave me character, a work ethic, you know, all these values. Mm-hmm. And it was the first time someone said, I want you to do this for the intangibles, not because you're just going to fail at comedy. I was like, I'm not going to fail at comedy, and I will fight you to the death on this, because you do not tell me what I can and cannot fail at. Mm-hmm. And so I did it for her. Mm-hmm. I stayed and I'm going back to the Philippines with my mom in February because I've never been. I went when I was 3. She lived in the same size house as her master bedroom now. 7 people to that room. Her dad died of cancer when she was 16. My grandma was a beauty queen, hairdresser, and my grandpa, who I never met, was a businessman. Everything he touched turned to gold, is what they said at my grandma's 90th birthday. And my grandma was hot. She got her pick. And my grandpa was hot. Like, he was stunning. And fly, dripped out. So, yeah, I did it for her. And everybody was like, man, F your parents. It's America. Individual. Who cares about you just drop out of school. Do what you want. F them. Set boundaries. Shut up. Sacrifice is good. Honor sacrifice of other people for you is a good thing to do. You should go to school. That is a valid reason to do anything for your family. And that is so stupid. You don't do anything just for yourself. That's a stupid reason to do it. College is an overinflated, stupid thing to do for yourself. To get a stupid English degree? Why? Just go to the library and read. You don't need to pay your parents hard-earned money for this unless they have it because they sacrificed before for you to burn it and learn the lesson. It's okay. They'd rather you burn it and learn than spend it on something that they know. At least they know this will teach you something. Whatever it is, sacrifice or work ethic, because I did learn things from college that were intangible. And doing stand-up, and that forced me to work as hard as people who weren't in school. And I remember Quincy, he said, you're always on the clock in college because you can always study more. When you go to a job, you clock in, you clock out, that's it. It's so much easier to do stand-up that way. But I'm always on the clock in business. I'm going to go to the Philippines. I'm still going to make stuff. That's that. I learned to do that because I went to college and did comedy. I'm waiting to go on stage at a show. Everybody's talking, drinking, networking. You're all trash anyways. You're not good at stand-up. We all suck. There's no networking to be done. It's all fake. They're not going to show up to your funeral. Get good. Then they'll come up to you and say, who are you? That's how a manager found me. And so that's all that matters. And so that showed me, like, if I have 2 hours to spare, let me make it count. Right? And then when I got out of college, that restless itch of like, yo, well, let's write a sketch while we're waiting to go on stage. If we're not, you know, Louis would, sorry, that's dropped again. Louis, he would like,
talking about Louis C.K.
Yeah, he would like write his script while he was waiting to go up at the cellar, like write his TV show. You got to have something else going on because otherwise you're just gonna drink. That's all they do, drink. Next thing you know, you have an alcohol addiction. You didn't even, you know. So yeah, I mean, all the great people, they get off stage and they work, but it might not be drinks, it might be women or whatever that it's like they forget, you know. So, and for now, it's like, okay, cool, you're like, now you're a famous Christian artist. Who's gonna pray for your fans? You are. You don't get to sleep with them. You don't get to, you know, think. It's like there's work to be done, you know. So yeah, because I thought, oh, I wanna I was doing comedy and girls were like, you're cute, you know, afterwards. And now girls come up to me, it's like, hey, and I'm like, I hope this girl's not flirting with me. And she's like, I'm really depressed. Can you help? My brother's depressed too. Can you help? So it's like, that's better. Or young men, you know, like that's who I'm called. Young men, you know, who are struggling with purpose. It's like, that's the exact opposite of the demographic that I set out to do this for. I set out to do this for young women. And the Lord says for young men. But it's much better. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Hey, that's a part. So I'm curious, coming out of college, where, like, cause you got your degree, you're going as hard in comedy as you can. You talked about getting a manager. Talk about that time after college and leading up to getting a manager and starting to pick up traction in your comedy career.
So my senior year, a lot of family stuff happened that I won't get into too much, but a split in the family occurred that really threw me for a loop. So, and I had a girlfriend, and I was in New York because I knew I wanted to get out there eventually, because you could do stand-up all the time out there.
What led up to the decision to go to New York?
Sort of always there. I just knew New York was the mecca of like, it's where you could perform the most. And so I was like, if I'm gonna compete again at the level that I see, New York is the best way. So plotted my way to get there, and I ended up getting an internship at Above Average, this now defunct production company, and I did stand up as much as possible while there. I found that I would go insane if I did it any more than this. It was about 15 shows a week I could do. And at the end of it, I auditioned for the NBC Stand Up for Diversity, and I made it out of 100 people into the next round, and then got really nervous and felt unqualified and unworthy and all those things, and got nervous and bombed, and then came back to LA and started to, I don't know if I had the manager by then. Ethan Stern is his name, and he works for 3 Arts, which is Kevin Hart is rep by them. They're a big management company, I think started by Dave Becky, who was Louis C.K.'s manager. Was, I think, and still is Kevin Hart's manager. And he found me because I booked 22 shows from San Francisco, Seattle, and Portland. And at the end of that tour of sorts, my friend Adam came with me. Salma came for some of it, and I honed a set in San Francisco because I got like a lot of shows in San Francisco. I would go there all the time to get stage time. San Diego and San Francisco, you could get a lot of stage time there, and I had a good reputation there. And so yeah, I would I honed my set, and there was this show called The Setup, and I did that set there, and it killed. And so I got that on tape, and one of the headliners there, he booked me at his show in LA, and there was like not really many people there, but it was on one of those comedy calendars, and this guy Ethan, who was working as an assistant to Dave Becky himself, was starting to get his own clients, and so he would just go to shows and see people, and he saw my name. He knew a lot of the people on the lineup, but there was like 2 people who didn't know. He looked me up, he's like, oh, this kid's 19. Came and saw me, and with nobody in the audience, I did great. Like, and then he's like, oh, what else do you got going on? I'm a manager, like I want to scout you. And then I said, oh, I'm going to another show right now. He's like, let me go with you. So then he came to the next show afterwards. He's like, I want to work with you. And I freaked out, and I told my dad, and he was like, what's the pay cut? You know, like all that stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that was just like oh, somebody thinks I got it like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, my parents they just didn't know, you know, like you don't know, like, if your son's gonna, even if it's not even if my dad says, oh, he doesn't have it, it's like, does it work even if you have it? You know what I mean? How many stories end in tragedy?
Mm-hmm.
So, or you have it, but it's a dangerous life.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you have it, your life is on the road, heightened risk of dying in a plane crash or a car crash, you know. That's just true. Yeah. And so being around drinking, like all this stuff. So but that really, I don't know, like pushed me a little bit. I started auditioning, I started submitting writing packets, I started sending my tape in to people. He's like, oh, this late night booker, they say, oh, he's good, like, but we need a different tape, or, you know, let's give it some time, or, you know, Comedy Central or this. And then I met a girl, and because she wanted to know how I was able to juggle going to school full time and doing comedy, because I had met her out in San Francisco a few years back, and she had seen me on Facebook doing it. Mm-hmm. She's like, I'm really struggling right now, I really want to drop out, like, how did you stay? Because I wrote a 5-year retrospective on doing comedy now for 5 years, where I talked about the experience at the Work Shadow program, I talked about my parents' doubts and all these things, and at the end I go, I can confidently say I'm a comedian now, because I had done like 20 shows in 2 weeks and submitted like 3 writing packets and did 4 auditions and a voice, you know. I was like, I'm doing this. Mm-hmm. And we FaceTimed and fell in love, and then I started visiting her in San Francisco, and then 3 months later we moved in together. And I ran away from it all because my family was in shambles, and I felt like my mom needed space. She got laid off from her job and realized that she could just retire. So I thought, okay, they want me out the house. They're probably happy if I get out the house. This girl wants to potentially move to New York with me at the end of this and take a semester off school, and we're in love, and she told me we're going to be together forever. And so I did it. And as Jordan Peterson said, the adventure of your life. In retrospect, yeah, it was. Now I can live to tell the tale. But it was the start of a catastrophic downfall. And that was, everybody's like, why are you leaving LA? You're just starting to pop off. Yeah.
How old are you at that time?
23. I even told my mom, I said, can I not get a real job? Let me just really do comedy just for 6 months and see what happens. And she said, yeah. And I moved.
Dang.
So she would have done it. She would have helped me out, you know, just devote, because I held up my end of the bargain. I did college, so she's really happy. Like we celebrated that moment when I my graduation party, like, and I got to hug her and cry, and like, yeah, it was awesome. So, and I'm glad to this day that I went, you know. But yeah, I mean, it was awesome, like, until it wasn't. You know, it was love of your life. Like, I mean, people would kill to have that. There are people out there that are like, I just want to feel that much that you felt. I've never felt that way, period. I don't care how much pain it caused you at the end. I just want to feel that.
Describe it. Feel that what?
Everything's in Technicolor. It's like, you know, going from black and white to color. My friend's favorite poem that I've ever written, he asked me, he was recording something, and he was like, I want to make like motivational videos, and I want to make your poetry as a backtrack. So I sent him these voice recordings, and he said, I love this poem. And then He said one time he was driving, thinking about his ex, and my poem just came on, and he just bawled. And it's called No Contacts. Didn't realize it's a pun on, or double entendre. What is that, pun or whatever? No context. I didn't realize that it's that. But it's, the world is so blurry with no contacts. When I look back on memories, they're never as bright as they seemed. The few memories I have are Polaroids developed over time, where I never intended for the flash to go off. I remember heat, the silhouettes of everything surrounding you, backlit because you are the flash. How can I forget your beckoning eyes? They were always adjusting as time went on, and their lens was never bought but inherited. But my lens has deteriorated with age. It seems I'll never see so brightly as I did with you, young, sharper, and clear. It's like your memories have contacts on them. Like, they're clear, they're crisp, they're lighted properly, they're vibrant, every pixel and color, it's cinematically perfect. That is what those times felt like transcendently beautiful. And it still is that way. I mean, I have other memories that are transcendently beautiful in that way as well. And maybe if Jesus is the light, like, that's what he does for your memories. When you get to the other side of it, he'll show you the richness and color of those memories, the way he saw you and the way he saw it. And it's breathtakingly, cinematically gorgeous. But the enemy will go back there and he'll turn all the lights off, and he'll only show you lights on certain parts. And it's like red light, it's like black light, all this dirty stuff. You see that? It was actually that dirty. It's like lies. That's why I think these, with psychedelics, you can go into that and you can meet people wiser than you, entities wiser than you. It's like, yeah, but where are they taking you? The Holy Spirit, there's one way, one truth, one life. They can take you any way. If it's not the Holy Spirit, don't go. It might be cool, might be some color of red that you've never seen. It's a trap.
Yeah, truth. You tell me about how your goals. Tell me about your goals when you went to New York with this love of your life at the time.
Love of my past life.
Yeah. Tell me about your goals, what your intentions and values were when you were going there, but then compare and contrast that to how it actually went.
That's a really good question. What were my goals heading into that? And
yeah, your hopes, your desires.
My hope was to get a lot of stage time, get away from the whole auditioning and all that stuff, just focus on stand-up, just be an artist, and then with her move to New York and then really hone my skills. And then we were going to both become successful. We were going to tour together, and I was going to go do Edinburgh, and I was going to hit all my goals and get the manager and get Just for Last by this age and drop an album by this age and do this by this age, all that stuff. And then she said, I don't know if I want to go to New York quite yet. Like, I think I want to stay here and just develop. And I was like, then why did I move here? And I probably said, I didn't move here just for you. And then she's like, then leave. Basically, like, okay, so you're not even here for me. You used me. to get to a place, and I changed it, but that wasn't, I'm here for you, you know, not for New York or our career, like, you know. I don't even know if she didn't really, I was trying to intertwine our careers together. It wasn't necessarily, she was still trying to figure out what she wanted. She was younger too, you know. I was young too. So yeah, and she's still doing it. She's Sereni Weirsekra. I don't hang around people that I don't believe in. So of course, that's why I was with her. Of course she made it. That's what attracted me to her. She was like Kobe. And yeah, it's been a long time since I really let it rip about this is yeah, I was about it. This is the fire I had inside. Listening to J. Cole and Big Sean, and I know I'ma get it, I just don't know how. Hard up on the stage, hard up on the stage, body in the crowd, you know. It's like, yeah, I'ma get it. I write that down, I look at it, you know. So it was like, that was in me. I wouldn't express it, you know. When things sort of went well, there was sort of a braggadocious nature to my comedy, and people thought I was cool, and I hated myself. and it later, I was looking back at those clips, and I'm like, I look cool. But I'm talking about vulnerable things. Like, I'm awkward. My friend Derek, I did an hour at the Improv Space, and I invited everybody out. He's like, you have this thing where it's like, because you're awkward and charming and disarming, you can say anything. And you're ambiguous too. So it's like, he's like, I don't think you understand what you have. He's like, you can get away with anything. That's a superpower. And so in retrospect, I see that, and I'm like, oh, I see it. And I talk about it with other people now. I'm like, you're brilliant, and you won't accept that. You have to, because other people are going to tell you you're brilliant, and you're going to say, no, I'm not. And you're just gaslighting them. Your gift is not for you. So it doesn't matter that you're not enjoying it. Do it anyways.
Yeah.
You will enjoy the connection that you get with those people. That is what it's about. It's not about like, oh, I don't feel like what? Yeah, it's fun is being able to play the game infinitely.
Yeah, it's true. So you went to New York with a lady.
She didn't come. We broke up.
Oh, she
and then I
didn't
never
come. So you went ahead of her.
No, I moved back home and had a mental breakdown. So New York never happened.
Oh, I see.
And I spent 3 months there for that internship, but I never ended up making the move and moving out to New York. And then I got well again-ish and started working with kids, and got back on stage again. It was starting to go well, and then the pandemic, and then now I'm making music to keep the gears turning. And Tom, my uncle and mentor and godfather, and musician, composer, everything, writing partner, like awesome family friend. He's like, you're a talented songwriter, and I want to make an EP with you, and I'll do it for free, because I have a chronic terminal, well, there's no cure to this cancer, but I can live with it. And I sold a company, and financially I can take a bet on projects and just do it for free. So we made a whole EP for free. I mean, he didn't ask for any money, and we didn't make any either. Yeah.
Dang, I gotta listen to that EP. What is it?
It's on SoundCloud, and I'm gonna re-release the songs on Spotify, and it's called Nathanael. Yeah, and I'm really proud of it. The theme song to this podcast is the best song on the album, and I wrote it right after Kobe died. And it's called I Don't Want to Die Young, and it's like a electronic rap move forward, it's like I don't want to die young, I don't want to die young, but if I do, I hope you knew that I hope you knew that I've been true, and where is it? But if I do, I hope I'm true, and if I leave it up to you, I hope you let some people know that I've been worked hard. I don't want to die young, I don't want to die young, but if I do, I hope you knew that I've been training for a marathon that few would ever get to put their life towards. You can't really, the latency on this is hard to rap, but yeah, and there's just a lot of really good lyrics, and then at the end the beat switches and it gets really like aggro in your face, and it's and then immediately goes like, it's this the outro, this the God flow. It's been getting kind of heavy because my mind's been running steady, but you gotta know for who to drop your mouth for. This the outro, snatch the crown though, put it on my head and shoot them dead. They eating like, cause I ain't even rapping, I'm just writing on their tombstone, like just like, and so yeah, we did that, and then I wrote the one-man show and did it in Orlando, and it went great.
So you mentioned going to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
That was a goal of yours, and I know that you got there. Tell me about the lead up to that point in your life.
Next week on From Work to Worship, Nathanael goes from college student to world traveler, conquering the dragon which sits atop the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Find out how we continue to fight and overcome on next week's episode of From Work to Worship. Pick up the call, take up your sword, and go on the adventure of a lifetime. This has been a PPDK Productions original. Follow us as we climb the tallest mountains, slay the fiercest dragons, and pursue the highest good while confronting the greatest evil we've ever known. Join us at ppdkproductions.com. Press play on your purpose.
Press play on your purpose.